Welcome to today's session on basic drafting. In this lecture, we will learn how to draft basic front bodies, an essential step in pattern making. Objective of this lecture, if we take step-by-step drafting technique, you will understand accurate body measurement and you will also be a master to use of pattern making tools. Drafting the basic front bodies. Learn to draft a basic front bodice. This is the first step in master sewing and design. Follow these steps to create your own pattern. Introduction to drafting. Drafting is the process of 2D template for garment before cutting a fabric. A good draft ensures the garment fits well and has a right shape and structure. The first step is drafting a basic front bodice which forms the base of many clothing designs. The step 1 which we are going to learn a starting point. The step 1 which is shown here is a starting point. Draw a right angle. Draw a right angle. We begin drafting by drawing a right angle which will serve as our reference point. The corner of this right angle is labeled as point A. Point A, which is shown here. Why this is important? It ensures proper alignment of pattern pieces act as a base for all other measurement which we are going to take it for drafting a basic bodies. Step 2. If you take a step 2, we are going to measure A to B which is a 1/12 of the bust measurement and you have to subtract 1/4 inch of its total measurement. Measure A to B with this 1/12 of the bust measurement minus 1/4 inch. This helps to define the shoulder and neckline proportions which is shown as A to B. This particular distance will help you to decide what is your shoulder and neckline proportion of your front bodice. Step 3, if you take from B to C, measure 2 into 3/4 of the inches and mark the point. 3/4 of the inches, mark the point. From B to C, you take 2 and 3/4 of the inch, you mark it, the value you mark it here in inches. Then from C, you draw a right angle line downward by 3/4 inch, 0.75 inch to form a neck depth. Which is shown here. Then connect B to D. From here, from point B to D, like this particular line you are going to connect it and extend this line little downward for a longer. That's one. Then go to the step 4. If you go to the step 4, you will be measuring a shoulder width A to E. Shoulder width. You will be measuring the shoulder width A to E. You will be measuring it. When you are measuring a shoulder width, you will take A to E is half of the shoulder to shoulder measurement. A to E is half of the shoulder to shoulder measurement. Suppose if you are taking a 4 shoulder measurement, 4 inches shoulder measurement and half of the shoulder measurement is 2 inch. Like that you have to calculate and you have to mark this particular A to E line. From E, draw a vertical guideline down to locate F. Why it is important, this particular arrangement? This will helps to define the shoulder slope and ensures the neckline armhole fit correctly. It helps to measure. It helps to fit your armhole and neckline fits effectively. Then step 5. The step 5. The step 5 is bust placement. How we are going to make a bust placement. Here measure A to G. From this point to this point you measure A to G. When you are measuring A to G, you take the measurement of 1/12 of the bust measurement measurements. 1/12 of the bust measurement. From G, make a right angle outward to shape a bust area. To make a bust area, to mark or to shape a bust area, you make a right angle line outward from that point, particular point G. Then step 6, connecting and marking key points. Draw a rectangle downward from B to create a center front line. To create a center front, B to draw a right angle from B to create a center front guideline. So you will make a straight line from this point. That is one you are making. When you are making it, that will meet, connect B to G with straight line to establish a bust area. Like this, you draw a horizontal one slope line or straight line to connect this particular 3 points. Mark H where the bust line meets the vertical guideline. Mark the bust line which meets the particular guideline. Then move on to the step 7. Here you will have a armhole shaping. Here you will have a armhole shaping. Divide the H to I line into 3 equal parts. H to I line into 3 equal parts. How do we get I is, when we are marking B to G as a slope line, from H you will make a diagonal line A to H. That time there will be a midpoint where you will be able to get the point of I. From I to H, what you will do is you will mark 3 equal points which is shown here. Like that, you will mark the 3 equal parts. Mark the closest section I as a J. After I, you mark the next section as a J. Draw a smooth curve from G to B, passing through J to shape the armhole. Why this armhole curve is important? Creates a natural shape for armhole, prevents tightness and discomfort when it is worn. So this is what the plan when we are making a divide and curve. Then the next step is waistline measurement. Then the next steps is waistline measurement. Measure A to K. You see here, measure A to K, 1/6 of the bust measurement plus 2 inches. 1/6 of the bust measurement to 2 inches. A to K. You see here, from A, this is a point. So 1/6 of the bust plus 2 inch, if you take, you will get the point K. After marking K, from K, draw a right angle outward line making K to L, which is a 1/4 of the bust plus half an inch for ease allowance. So 1/4 of the bust plus half an inch of the ease allowance will be taken over here. Then when you are moving to step 6, you will be doing it for waist length adjustment. Measure A to M, which is a shoulder to waist length. A is here, M is here. So shoulder to waist length. Obviously we call A to M as a majorly full length, or your own say, you will say the shirt length or your body's length. That is one. Extend M to N, ensuring it equals to K to L. So draw a horizontal line outward, a rectangle line, right angle line, which will meet the line or the same level of the position of K to L. Same level you mark and make it square down of the entire set as shown in the figure. Then go to the step 10. Here what we will do is we will be redefining the bust and waist shape. We will be redefining the bust and waist shape. Mark the midpoint of A to K as O, as shown here, A to K midpoint, and this is O. From O, draw a vertical guideline downward. Measure O to P, half of the front high bust. Measure half of the front high bust. That is shown as O to P. Okay. Then move on to the step 11. redefining the body's curve. Divide the PQ line, divide the PQ line into 3 equal sections and mark the point R and S. So after making O2P, what you do is you just make a downward right angle line, and that point will cut at the K to L line. That particular point, meeting point, will mark it as a Q. Once that is drawn, you are ready to shape your bust point. Sorry, ready to shape your entire body curve. That means we are refining the body curve. So for that purpose only we are making all this particular points. Draw a straight line from the R to L, then refine it into a curve. For example, next go to your next slide. If you see step 12, finalizing the body shape. Divide T to Q. See here, Q is here, okay. Sorry, P to Q. It's not this one. P to Q, you mark equal distance of all the three. P to Q, you mark it as a equal distance, okay. Once P to Q into 3 equal distance, then you mark U, okay. Then you mark equal distance, you will mark R and S. Mark point R and S. Once that points are marked, then you will have a step which will help you to measure completing the entire body's point. For example, R to L, you'll make a one slope line, and from the Q point at the you make a one more slope line from Q point to another Q point angle, okay. One angle line, you will, if you make that line, will meet at the oral line. That particular point we mark it as a T. Right. Then you have a step 14 which will help you to measure the entire shaping which is required for the garment designing. For example, you will have a drafting the basic bodies from that particular point. Here, divide TQ line into 3 equal parts and mark TU. There you will be able to get a slight sloping curve. This is what as shown in the figure, okay. Then connect each and every point with this particular line. So from R to F you connect with the slight sloping curve. Then you will have a R to L, you will have a one sloping curve, and similarly you will have a horizontal line. Now connect F to R with a slightly curved line is shown to connect or to get the basic body shape. Now you measure K to V, one half of the bust point to bust point measurement. Draw a right angle line downward from V and mark it as a W, MN line. That particular downward line should meet in MN line, and that particular point we mark it as a W. Right? Mark point X. You mark a point X which will be placed in the VW line. Okay. Measure down from the point B your shoulder line to bust point. That is a measurement you should take and mark that point in the. From the B you mark this particular measurement and you will get. For example, measure down from the point B your shoulder to bust point. From this point, if you draw a line, your point will come. This particular point we call it X, which will lie on VW line. That is what shown in the figure. Now the entire body's front is drafted and it is ready for pattern making. Okay, basic front bodies is completely drawn. Understanding of basic bodies is one which we need to have a better understanding with the development. The next step is back bodice. Drafting the next step will do back bodice in the next class. Fitted bodice you have, that is basic pattern. Use a bodice pattern. You will be using a bodice pattern which will help you to fit it in the right way. Draft a fitted bodice, you need to have a better and effective measurement. So you have to understand various measurements used in drafting of basic bodice. Bust measurement, which helps to determine garment fit. Shoulder width ensures the correct alignment of your entire garment. Waist length helps in shaping garments correctly. Tools used for drafting is ruler, French curve and pencil. Ruler for straight lines and measurements, French curve to create smooth armhole curves, for sharp pencil for precise marking. Tips for getting accuracy in pattern drafting is: double check the measurement before finalizing it. Ensure smooth and continuous lines for better accuracy. Maintain right angles to avoid distortion in the pattern. If you follow these rules effectively, you will get the accurate pattern construction once the design is finalized. Master sewing and design. Master sewing and design has a three set of work. One is a basic bodice, back bodice and fitted bodice. Right? In final summary, we'll have a certain key takeaways from this entire session. You will be you have learned step by step bodice drafting process, accurate body measurements, the use of right tools for precision and accuracy. For the entire basic bodice, you will use this as a basic design basic designing of patterns. Thanks for keep learning and refining your pattern making skills. Thanks for watching.